Good morning, everyone. Today we need to talk about Terry Crews' interview with Don Lemon. Terry Crews was on Don Lemon's show and absolutely destroyed Don Lemon. And Don Lemon was freaking out as Terry Crews was going on to explain his views of Black Lives Matter and some of his criticisms of the movement. And as soon as the discussion was going in a direction that Don Lemon didn't like, Don Lemon would start interrupting Terry Crews, didn't allow him to speak, even silenced his microphone at some points. I mean, it was truly, truly disgusting. And the reason he originally went on there is he had made some tweets about a week or so ago criticizing Black Lives Matter, simply saying that Black Lives Matter movement can't morph into Black Lives Better movement. This shouldn't be anything that is controversial. He's just calling for equality, saying the fight can't be for supremacy. But apparently this was something that was very upsetting to a lot of people. There were articles circulating online referring to Terry Crews as trash. Really upsetting stuff. But here, let's take a look at some of the clips from this interview.
Black people need to hold other black people accountable. I said this the same thing. This is the Black America's version of the Me Too movement. If anything is going to change, we ourselves need to look at our own communities and look at each other and say, this thing cannot go down. And this is the thing too. There are a lot of great people there who are held hostage, by people who literally are running these neighborhoods with violence and then claiming that Black Lives Matter. When you look at the parents of these little kids who are saying, hey man, why aren't they speaking up for me too? And then this is what I'm saying. When I look at this whole thing about, it's about who is controlling the narrative. It's got to be all Black Lives Matter. And what's happened is that because I even challenged it, because I even questioned and warned people,
Terry,
I became like if I told you to wear a mask,
but Terry,
they want to kick you out.
You're a high-profile person. You're writing things out there. You know you're going to get backlash. You know people are going to respond to what you're saying on Twitter. So I don't think you should be surprised by that. I have a skin as tough as an armadillo because of what I do, and I think maybe you should adapt that. But here's what I have to say. The Black Lives Matter movement was started because it was talking about police brutality. If you want an all Black Lives Matter movement that talks about gun violence in communities, including, black communities, then start that movement with that name. But that's not what Black Lives Matter is about. It's not an all-encompassing. So if you're talking about, if someone started a movement that said, cancer matters, and then someone comes in and says, why aren't you talking about HIV? It's not the same thing. We're talking about cancer. So the Black Lives Matter movement is about police brutality and injustice in that manner, not about what's happening in black neighborhoods. There are people who are working on that issue, and if you want to start that issue, why don't you start it? Do you understand what I'm saying?
But when you look at the organization, police brutality is not the only thing they're talking about.
I know that. I agree, but that's not what the Black Lives Matter movement is about, Terry. Black Lives Matter is about police brutality and about criminal justice. It's not about what happens in communities when it comes to crime, black on black crime. People who live near each other, black people, kill each other. Same as whites. 80-some% of white people are killed by white people. True. Because of proximity.
Very true.
It's the same thing with black people. That happens in every single neighborhood.
Mr. Armadillo Skin, Don Lemon, Teflon Don, nothing bothers Don Lemon, except when someone brings up a narrative and pushes ideas that go against what Don Lemon thinks, then he needs to silence their mic, interrupt them. First off, Don Lemon has to be the worst reporter of all time. What reporter invites a guest onto his show to ask questions, then not let them answer those questions? And when they see that they're giving answers that they don't like, when the conversation's going in a direction that they're not happy with, they start interrupting their guest and start pushing their own ideas on that guest. And then secondly, let's debunk that completely BS analogy that Don Lemon used when he was talking about, well, cancer matters, and then someone creates a group called HIV matters. So let's look at what an actual equivalent analogy would be to what Black Lives Matter is doing. Black Lives Matter, according to Don Lemon, only cares about a small subset of black lives. They only care about lives lost at the hands of police. They don't care about lives lost at the hands of other black people, which is the number one cause of black deaths. But that is another subject. I digress. So let's move on to what an actual equivalent analogy would be. So if you have a group that you create called Cancer Matters that only focuses on a very small subset of deaths lost to cancer. Like, for example, Cancer Matters only cares about people that die of breast cancer. And then someone comes out and asks the group, well, what about prostate cancer? And they go, no, Cancer Matters is only about deaths caused by breast cancer. If you want to speak about prostate cancer too, then you can create another group that is all-encompassing, that talks about the deaths of all different types of cancer, and you could call that All Cancer Matters. This is the equivalent of what Black Lives Matter is doing. They have a group called Black Lives Matter that only cares about a very small subset of black deaths, and ironically, it happens to be one of the smallest subsets, and they're ignoring one of the largest subsets, which is black on black crime. And the irony behind this is their solution to solving the problem of a very small subset of deaths, which is police killing black people, is to defund the police, in which there is an inverse relationship between pulling back on policing and black deaths. As policing goes down, black deaths go up. Their solution actually kills more black people. That's the first point. And then moving on to Don Lemon's other points, where he was talking about, well, people tend to kill the people that they're around. Just like black people kill black people, white people kill white people. The thing that you're missing here, Don Lemon, are the numbers. So let's take a look at the numbers here. I'm gonna put the numbers up on the screen for you right here. So if you see right here, this was from 2018. Black murders, about 7,400. White murders, about 6,000. More black people are murdered than white people, but white people have a 5 times greater population than black people. Do you see the problem here? Black people are being killed in way larger numbers. And then he goes on to blame black people being shot. Oh, this is just gun culture. Well, if this is gun culture, what about all the rednecks in the middle of America that have all the guns? Why aren't they just killing everyone? Don't white people have access to the same guns as black people? I thought all these white people were just gun maniac crazy. But yet, black people are still dying with guns at way higher rates than white people. So Don Lemon, you fail there again. Even CNN viewers are recognizing Don Lemon for the fraud that he is. Look at these numbers on CNN's own video. It has about 1.5 million views. So far, 22,000 downvotes to about 8,000 upvotes. We got about a 3-to-1 negative ratio of downvotes. And it makes me very happy. It kind of restores my hope in humanity, in the American people, that everyone is now finally opening up their eyes and seeing the fraud that is CNN, Don Lemon, and Black Lives Matter. And even a more optimistic thing is if you were to scroll through some of the comments. I mean, I took about 10 minutes, kept scrolling through a bunch of the comments, and I mean, you would have a very hard time finding any comment that sided with Don Lemon. Everyone was out there talking about how big of a fraud Don Lemon is, how he wouldn't let Terry Crews speak, how he was silencing his mic. So, I mean, people are waking up and becoming wise to what is happening right now. So this should be very encouraging for everyone, seeing how all of this is playing out. Well, that is all I have for you here today. Hope you like this video. Subscribe, comment, and I will see you all next time.